Well, I was at the Saints game on Sunday, and boy was it rough to watch in person. The finely oiled machine coming to a grinding halt, and every wheel and bolt came flying off. The Patriots situation has deteriorated significantly, already facing a crucial Week 5 matchup against a seemingly average Saints team. They were in dire need of a recovery following a devastating 38-3 loss to the Cowboys the week prior. Unfortunately, things went from bad to worse to abysmal. They found themselves trailing 21-0 at halftime, ultimately suffering a 34-0 defeat at the hands of the Saints. For the second consecutive game, Mac Jones was replaced by Bailey Zappe after committing 3 turnovers. The Patriots' record now stands a dismal 1-4 for the season, with a winless 0-3 record at Gillette. Again, I went to this game, and here are some of my initial reflections on being physically present at the game and witnessing yet another demoralizing loss. Following another feeble performance by the Patriots, where Jones was benched and all aspects of the game were marred by errors, I can tell you I am confident in confirming some of my more obvious concerns about this team after watching the game in person. Number 1, Mac's throwing technique is crumbling. It is more than just not having some time or space to set his feet. Just about every aspect of his throwing motion makes my eyes hurt. I got this by just watching warm-ups and him trying to stay loose on the sidelines. It is off. Now, once he got out on the field and he was being chased around by our pass rushers, it obviously only gets worse. As a result, his accuracy and velocity drop dramatically. I mean, the throw to Parker on the sideline there was like a frisbee toss in real life. That ball was just hanging out there like a kite in the breeze, rather than being rifled in there in anticipation of Parker's break. That ball was slow and late. Number 2, Mac's pre-snap reads are just basically absent. I'm not seeing the RPO expert. I'm not seeing any audibles, especially when the defense is broadcasting their intent. Nothing's being adjusted by Mac. That might not be his problem. He might be being restricted by what's going on the sideline, but it's an issue. Number 3, the offensive line is trying, but they are just lacking tone setters. They are out there. I am not seeing anybody battling, really. It's sad to see. Number 4, besides Pop Douglas, receivers are slow. In real life. I mean, Bourne is getting open, and he looks operative out there, but man, Parker and Juju have no twitch in their body left. I mean, even Ty Montgomery got out there for some snaps at receiver, and he looked like he was running good routes and he had some athleticism going, especially compared to Parker and Juju. I know they're a little bit bigger dudes, but that's not going to help if you don't ever get the ball in your hand. Like, your size only matters when there's something physical going on. If you're never getting open and getting any sort of separation, it doesn't matter anymore. And yes, Ty Montgomery gave up the interception, but at least that route was crisp and he's ready for the catch. Number 5, Ramondre Stevenson is an issue. I was sitting in the end zone looking down the field, so I got a broad view of the line, right? I gotta say, Ramondre is just sitting in the holes. The dude is not moving north and south at all. I mean, Ramondre, no blocks are being set up, dude. You just gotta go and do your job. Zeke looks like he's showing up and trying. I give him credit for that. The dude's running the ball. Hate all you want on him, but at least he looks like he is here to do his job. Number 6, if you cover up our tight ends, it is over. They smothered Henry and Gesicki, and it shut down the offense. Now, onto the defense. Number 1, Godshaw's completely checked out, or he's done. Dude was getting manhandled 1v1 against guards and was getting blasted out of the gap. It was hard to watch. The guy got paid and hasn't showed up since. And also, Barmore is completely MIA. On the other side of that, though, Keon White is legit. That dude has a motor, and he's aggressive. I love his play thus far. Number 2, Adrian Phillips is done. He was one of my favorite Patriots, but the guy just looks melted. I was wondering why he wasn't on the field for the first few games, but it's obvious now. After that, Miles Bryant. Man, seeing him out there just irritates me so much, and it's not his fault. It's sad because it's really all they have left. But Miles Bryant's not a perimeter corner, but he's all they got. It's just a struggle. Now, J.C. Jackson, he was out there for a bit, but it's just not much to say. Didn't see too much of him. Shaun Wade, I saw flashes of ability. He doesn't look too bad when he gets out there, but then he gets beat. Duggar, I was a little disappointed the first few games, but now when I watch him in real life, it just looks like he's trying to hold things together back there. Again, they're just beat up in the secondary, but the guy needs to be unleashed to make plays, and he can. He's playing back, and he just seems to be stuck back there being the last line of defense because now Peppers is running around trying to help everyone else in coverage. The defense is just breaking down due to these injuries. And that's the last thing. The injuries just killed this defense quick. Still, need to get more physical freaks that you can unleash out there and cause some havoc in the long term. You gotta get more Keon Whites. That's just the reality of it. At this point, you gotta find a way to get as much guys out there that's just causing volatility. Because the way they set up that defense, it was all bend not break, but man, the holes are wide open now. And now hopefully you can find some guys who can get out there that are quick and physical enough to close the holes when someone's running through them. It's just the way it has to be. Now, are we hoping for the Patriots to make a turnaround? Or is this New England team just simply reflective of what they've been for most of this fall? A lackluster, injury-riddled roster heading for the bottom of the NFL. That's what we need to worry about. Now, that being said, Belichick did say in his press conference that they need to, quote, start over. Which is probably more of a, clear the board and let's rethink about what we're doing with what we currently have and who is healthy. But a couple more weeks of this, and I think we need to think about a stronger reset and retool. No, I'm not talking about firing Bill Belichick or just benching Mac for the rest of the season to penalize them for the state of the team. I am frustrated about the situation, but we need to be a little bit more pragmatic about how we can at least make the season useful and still entertaining to the fans if this is really going to be a bottom 5 team this year. So, I am going to present a few ways the Patriots can reset the season if they want to try to be competitive in the second half of the year, or how they can really start to be aggressive and prepare for 2024. Okay, let's get started with trying to save the season. First, we need to know how bad Pop and Juju are coming out of this game. Are they going to be out for a significant period of time? If so, I think we need to think about Jalen Reagor and Malik being called up. Jalen is at least an experienced NFL player that is athletic and can return kicks and punts, so he is useful. Malik could be brought up to add some emergency depth at wide receiver and take over the backup QB role with some packages to be put in to provide a change of pace. Some people might see this as, quote, giving up, waving the white flag. Nope, it's not. It's trying to do whatever it takes to win. Thinking having him coming in and running a few packages at QB is dumb? Nope. I just watched Taysom Hill from the Saints do it to us this weekend. They brought him in. He did something different. He changed up the pace, and our defense had to adapt. And they didn't. It is time to get creative and give some guys a shot. Now, the other option is going after some younger free agents to bring in on the practice squad or at least try out. There are a decent amount of rookie free agents that got released or were signed to USFL teams that could be practice squad guys. We're going to need some bodies at some point with the way the injuries are going. I got a few guys that I like that are still out there as far as I know. Griffin Hebert, he was on the Seahawks for most of the preseason. He's a tight end, an H-back, and a fullback. I believe he has like a 10 out of 10 on the RAS. Super quick, fast guy. Actually, before he got injured, he was the highest rated tight end in FBS. So keep that in mind. Another guy, Jack Coletto from the 49ers. He's a tight end, fullback, linebacker, and even played a little bit of quarterback. I believe at Oregon State. Just a guy to bring in. At least he's adding depth in multiple spots and obviously probably special teams. Another guy who's actually showed up in 2 different camps and played a decent amount of snaps at the USFL level and tore things up was Levi Bell. He's a defensive lineman. He can play just about anywhere except probably nose guard straight up, but he's a rookie with decent tape. Another guy I really like, he had some time at the USFL at the end, and then he was also at a couple camps, is Ike Irabor. He's a running back, wide receiver, and kick returner. He's got like 4.4 speed, good hands, looks like he runs some crisp route, really, really twitchy. Could be another Ty Montgomery type. Ryan Greenhagen, he went USFL at the end, solid linebacker and special teams guy. And then also considering possibly maybe bringing back Ed Lee or possibly Scotty Washington for some sort of depth at wide receiver, tight end. Now, another move to consider if guys are going to be out for a while is to start poaching guys off other teams' practice squads to bring onto the 53-man roster. Guys that might not be all pros, but perhaps are project players on other teams. But the Patriots are at a place where they need to consider grabbing some of these guys you missed on in the draft, but didn't make another team's 53-man roster. I actually have a pretty solid list. Now, these guys could come in, be on the 53, and possibly bring another aspect to your team, as well as add depth. On the offensive skill position players, I have one of my favorite guys in the draft, Derek Parrish. He's on the Jaguars practice squad. He's listed as a tight end, but he can play fullback, and he was the highest rated DN before his injury in the 2022 college season. Physical freak, hard worker, high motor, obviously wants to play some football. Zach Kuntz, Jets tight end. Physical freak, I think, what was he, a high 9s, almost 10 for tight ends at the combine. Had a knee injury, obviously is probably still nursing that back, but he's got good tape for what we have. It's just hopefully the knee's probably solid enough. I wouldn't mind bringing somebody like that onto the team. If Demario Douglas is out for a long period of time, we have Xavier Smith. He's on the Rams. He's a quick, shifty slot receiver. Another person to consider is Cephas Johnson from the Bucks. Big, tall. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's made transition to wide receiver, but he's also a quarterback. Again, a rookie. Shaq Davis from the Saints, wide receiver. He's, I think, 6'5", a little bit over 200. Just seems like a hard worker, has good tape, good hands. Considering the state of our wide receiver core, it might not be a bad idea to bring in a guy with unique talents. These offensive players are just people you can consider. Now for the offensive line, there's 3 dudes out there that could be useful. Jackson Kirkland. He's a guard/tackle. He's on the Bengals practice squad. McClendon Curtis from the Raiders. Again, another guard tackle. And then on the Packers, Kadeem Telfort, a tackle. He's 6'8", mid-300s. Very Trent Brown. Now, on the defensive side, there's a lot of guys on practice squads that probably could at least add some depth and be put on some special teams. Some of my favorite guys out there right now are Truman Jones. He's from the Chiefs. He's a D-tackle, D-end edge player. High motor, good technique, super strong. Probably should be on the 53-man roster, but it's the Chiefs. Next guy, Shaka Hayward. He's on the Bengals. Big linebacker, actually quite fast, decent in coverage, but also has some rush capability. Now, for a little more of a coverage linebacker, there's Trevor Nowask, Lions. Now, for edge rushers, I have 2 that we should consider. There's Jose Ramirez from the Bucks, edge rusher. Had one of the best combines out of the edge guys. He's a speed rusher. We don't have one of those. We typically don't. But hey, it might be time to start considering that. Plus, He can possibly play some special teams. Another guy, another speed rusher, Thomas Rush from the Titans. Now, up the middle, D tackles. Ali Gay on the Texans, big D tackle. Another impressive physical freak is on the Vikings practice squad, is Junior Aho. Super physical freak, very raw, but he's young, he's high motor, wants to play, right? Defensive secondary, it's pretty weak out there, but I think right now, Mickey Gardner on the Eagles practice squad. Another Eagle to consider is Ben Van Sumeren. He's a will linebacker, good in coverage, super fast, can also do some rush. More defensive, more secondary guys, Brandon Hill, good physical freakies on the Texans practice squad. And then one of the top guys that tested out, he's on the Giants, Caleb Hayes, cornerback. Again, you'd be bringing these guys on to the 53-man roster, but at this point, there's just so many open holes from injuries. Maybe it's worth to bring these guys in, even if maybe it's for just a few weeks. Give them a shot. You never know. Now, I will say, indeed, some of these guys might not be worth the 53-man roster spot. But we have to consider some of these guys if the Patriots start to unload some of our talent near the trade deadline. We have a long list of players that are up for a contract at the end of the season that might have some value to playoff teams. Now consider this, the fact we haven't re-upped some of these contracts at this point tells me that the Patriots and the agents aren't exactly eye to eye. If these guys are just going to walk at the end of the season, we might as well get some draft capital from them, right? We have Bourne that's going to be up. Trent Brown will be up. Now remember, he didn't get an extension. He just got a little extra in terms of incentives for just this season. Hunter Henry will be up. Gesicki will be up. Onwenu will be up. Duggar will be up. Uche, and there's a few other guys in there as well. Not sure what we can get for these guys. In addition, I don't think we should be ditching most of these guys, period. And you can't. There's collective bargaining agreements. You can't just completely fire sale your team. Your team has to have a minimum amount of salary on the team, right? But at the same time, I don't expect us to keep all these guys at the end of the season. So Bill might be willing to give one of these guys up to get something extra in the draft if he was just planning on moving on anyway. Again, the Patriots only have a couple weeks to show a complete 180. Can they? Well, maybe Thornton shows up, Jack Jones is coming back, things look better. But man, I don't see how you undo the trauma from Mac Jones, what he's dealing with, the slow, lethargic receivers, the gun-shy Ramondre, the beat-up O-line, the injuries just across the board in the secondary. Godchau's checked out, Barmore seems to be done. Special teams was embarrassing. I mean, Joe Cardona's probably cost us 9 points already this season and at least 2 bad punts. It's just brutal everywhere. Anyway, if they can't just turn this around in the next few weeks, we need to think about lightening the load and bringing in some guys that might have a chance to develop and do something. And at the same time, try to gather and amass as much draft capital as possible for this loaded 2024 draft. What can they do with that draft capital? Well, let's take a look. All right, so we'll do a few mock drafts, maybe just one actually. And we're going to see what we can get for some of these guys that are up for contract, just to see what we can get and just show you maybe it's worth maybe unloading some of these guys to pick up some draft picks this season. And again, this is under the assumption that you can get decent value for them, and also at the same time the idea that they're probably either asking, their agents are asking too much money, it's probably not likely they're probably going to walk next season, or these are guys you're just simply I'm done with you. Whatever it is, your time here in New England is now done. So let's see what we can do. Who would be one of those top guys? Onwenu would be, I wouldn't want to. Let's see what we can get for Trent Brown. Probably not much for his age, but we'd be looking for teams that are in contention. So it would be some of these top teams here that needs offensive line. So Tampa Bay, and I wouldn't want to give it to Miami. That doesn't make any sense. San Francisco, they don't have much to give, though, aren't they? Aren't they pretty strapped for draft picks? So let's go. Let's just... Oh, actually, let's look what the 49ers have. Oh, they got... Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to get... They have comp picks. That's right. Okay. 100? What? Trent Brown's not worth a 100? He's worth a 132, though. All right, let's see if someone else can give us something better here. Oh, they're not going to do it on really that much of... Okay, so let's do the opposite. Let's see if we can get down here. Just say... Well, the Raiders. They don't look like they're going to be a great team, but they desperately need offensive help. O-line help. Okay, so they're not going to do it. So who was our best here? Try the Titans here. Will the Titans trade with us? 113. Damn it. Go to the Bucks again. Would they have 127 and 120? I doubt 205. Let's give it a shot. I think, I mean, for Trent Brown, that's not that bad. Okay. Okay. I'm okay. It's not great. I was hoping maybe we get 150 in there or something. Or... Nah, whatever. Trade again. Who else could we get rid of? I hate to get rid of Duggar. Onwenu probably is walking, right? Well, he's been injured and he doesn't look great, so maybe he might be a guy that we can keep and that gets that full recovered next year. Who else can we do? Probably Duggar. I wouldn't want to get rid of Duggar, but he might be thinking that he's worth too much. Who else can we get rid of? I think Duggar could probably go to the Eagles. They need help at safety. I know Eagles love their draft picks, but no way we're getting that, right? So 62 with a... Wow. I'll take it. Oh. Anybody else need D-back help? Jags? Yeah, let's try the Jags. Ugh. Really don't like giving up. Let's see what... Okay, let's do that. Okay. That's enough. Let's just... I don't know, just get a few draft picks here. Alright, so we're not getting Caleb or Drake or Marvin, but that does give us Olu, Joe Alt, or Brock Bowers. I'm more of a Joe Alt guy. So if I'm feeling that if I can move back 1 or 2 spots, anybody call it? Oh, 15. You'd have to give me half your draft board. But let's just talk about that. At 15, I think we still got some blue chip people at 15. Because honestly, we're at the point where you just need needle movers. I mean, Yes, the offensive line definitely needs help. But you could still get basically first round talent in the second and possibly even the third. And not well, third would be different, but there's definitely Olu and Joe Alt are next level, very cream of the crop tackles. But I also like Graham. I don't think Graham Barton's that far off. I don't think J.C. Latham's that far off. I don't think Marius Mims is that far off. You know, like they might be towards the lower end, like the bottom half of the first round, but I don't think they're that far off from these guys. So if I can get a later pick, still get them up, pick one of those guys, and then also pick up a, maybe another 50-ish. Like, what would that be? Yeah, two top 50s and maybe even a 79 for my fifth. I mean, I don't think that's too much of a stretch, but maybe screw it. Let's just do it. Just to show. So we're still getting a top blue chip wide receiver, good all the way around. Same here. So what do I do? I would probably, honestly, I would even trade back again. But if I can pick up another draft pick out of it. But that would be just too much to deal with. So let's just start drafting here. We're going to pick at 37-ish. So what are they going to have left on the board? Probably there. Maybe another one. Yeah, we might have some wide receivers left. Tackles will still be there. So, but I'm more worried about the tackle situation than anything else. So Michael Penix Jr., I don't know if he'd be at 29 or in the 30s here, but wouldn't be surprised, though, at the same time. I think he might be a top 15 pick, but I'm going to play what they give us here. Do I go with Kalen? Or do I go with Jordan? Yeah, I can get him up here. Jordan Morgan, probably. I don't know if he can play right tackle. Patrick Paul probably should play right tackle. I'm going to go with Patrick Paul, I think. He might be a little bit more of a project player. Jordan Morgan's a good tackle, though. I like Jordan as a technician. You know what? We can't mess around. We'll see. Hopefully one of those guys can move over to the other side. I wouldn't mind getting Jaden Daniels if we didn't have a shot at let's say probably Penix probably wouldn't be there in the second round. Jaden Daniels is one of my guys I'm looking at that second or third round pick. Still could have got Kingsley. I should have went with Kingsley. Cedric Van Pran's the best center in the draft. If you can get a best at their position in the third round, needle mover. One of the best wide receivers in the draft. Makuba can play corner and safety, super fast. I would like to get Troy Franklin, but I kind of have to just think a little defense here. Oh yeah, we still have draft capital. There's another wide receiver. Receivers are done. Jaden Hicks at safety. That's a no-brainer probably. That being said, though, where's the rest of the safeties at? I know we have this safety group is a lot deeper than last year. See, like, I can probably hold off. Like, I mean, every single one of these guys I like all the way down to Moore. And these guys are good, too, you know? I mean, it's kind of hard to believe that Catalan's going to be 174. So maybe we can take a look back. Trey Harris could have got him, too. Jalen McMillan's at not even a top 100 pick now? Man, this draft is... I don't think people realize how loaded this draft is. This guy, I think, is leading FBS in terms of sacks. He's ranked at 105. Absolutely not. Nuts. Arguably, last year could have been a second-round pick. We're looking at him at the end of the third. Crazy. Probably would have gone second or third round last year. This is crazy. Absolutely nuts. Anyway, let's get... What are we going to not have a lot of? Let's go with... Let's do the smart thing and I guess just go with Jaden Hicks to start picking up the draft, fill into the Duggar situation. Mondon. A legit coverage linebacker, just so you know. Jaheim Bell, tight end / H-back. Not much more of an inline guy, but he can run the ball, actually. This is a no-brainer for me right now. I mean, I like Will Shipley. It's probably a good pickup, but getting that legit guard, Cooper Beebe's just battle wagon. And then Kate Stover plays both sides of the ball. I think that's just... I probably should pick up a D-tackle. But Kate Stover can play edge. And he's a good offensive tight end. He's also a great tight end. I guess you just have to go with... You got to get guys that can play. Got to get ball players, right? We got to talk about work ethic. Got to talk about guys who want to play. Tough dudes. You know, things start getting tough. They rally up. Not talking about getting their bag or getting their bread, right? You're going to run into that, but... So, takeaway here, I mean, obviously this is not going to happen, right? The amount of trades, trading back, but you can see what happens when you build up draft capital. You can redo your offensive line again, sadly. But it's time to maybe think about, like, you know, Trent Brown getting injured. I mean, he seems like a nice guy, kind of sluggish, slothish. If he doesn't get the jump on, you know, on the hike, you know, he's got to time that perfectly. That cadence has to be perfect for him to not be beat, right? So if he's off on that one day, he's not doing well, he's going to get smoked. Gotta get an athletic left tackle. Jordan Morgan or Graham Barton can do it. The other guy can take right tackle. Over and done with. Or if they don't, Jordan Morgan can probably play a really good guard position. Bump him in on left. Cole Strange has to figure out what he's doing. I picked up Cedric Van Pran just as an example. Like, we were in the third round, and he still got the best center in the draft. If you can do that, I mean, yeah, centers... People hate the idea of doing that, but like you gotta start picking. It's a luxury pick. I don't know. Offensive line, not luxury, not really. Defensive lineman, not luxury. It's becoming more obvious that you just have to, like, you know, people want to value a lot of, you know, like wide receiver because they catch the ball and stuff like that. You're going to have a lot of talent always going to wide receiver. I will tell you this. I have like 200 receivers on my list. And that's not just because I amassed them. These are guys I went and looked at. And I just added a few more from a few FBS players that are getting a shot after some injuries, or they finally made their way on the field and they've proven themselves and have taken over some starting spots that I've added to the list. That list hasn't been trimmed up. It's only been added to. And that's after trimming it up. So, like, I mean, that's only growing and hardening. Wide receivers, there's plenty of those guys. Tackles are solid, but you know where I'm, like, struggling to find some decent players? At center. I got 3 dudes. That's probably, so, if let's just say, Andrew says I'm done, that's a pick you might have to look at. Cedric Van Pran. Guy's a beast. Andrew Makuba is a good corner and safety. Obviously more of a free safety. He's a smaller dude, but hey, he's there. Jaden Hicks can probably play both safeties, but he's a bigger dude. In terms of wide receivers, I'm happy with both of those. You're probably holding your breath through all this, but to get him, I mean, probably at this point in the round, I'd probably safety-wise, I'd probably move him up, and then maybe still get Cedric later on. But Smail Mondin, again, a actual legitimate coverage linebacker getting in the 4th round. Top 3 tight ends probably in the whole entire draft. Getting him in the 4th round, really? Plus, he's more of an H-back and do some fullback. He does carry the ball, right? Cooper Beebe, probably one of the best guards in the draft. He can also play tackle, but very Antonio Mafi, tone setter, banging around, holds his spot, and I would say on like watching his tape, he's better than Mafi was. I'd love to see him out there. And then Kate Stover, you're probably wondering why I'm getting 2 tackles. Well, he can play in line and also split out. And he's also can play. He has legitimately played at the college level at Ohio State, both sides of the ball. So both sides of the ball at Ohio State. So he can play both. He's going to add value. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Again, I know I traded a bunch, and I traded a couple guys that we probably won't end up trading anyway. And who knows what their value is. I understand that. And yeah, we also have a whole bunch of other, picks that we'd have. And hey, you can't have that many rookies on a team for a variety of reasons. But if you're hitting a reset button, guys, like, at least, you know what you'd say? Like, it might be rough to watch even next year, which I don't think if you pulled out this, I think you'd legitimately have a team that could contend. It might be rough in the first half, but as they get caught up to speed, I think they'd be all right. And let's just say this. Say Mac looks okay. Say things start to turn around. You still do this. Say like it towards the end of the season, like what you have left on this team starts to show that things have stabilized. Yeah, maybe Michael Penix Jr. sits there for a year or so, but at least he moves, motivates Mac to get moving, and this would save Mac next year, having a, solid tackles and wide receivers. And we'd have fast corners and a fast linebacker, right? Getting some tight ends to throw to that maybe because, our guys leave. Things to consider. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I hope you guys at least got something out of this. If you like the content, as always, please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.